Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Is stimulus dead? The answer is actually no. We're going to talk about in this video stimulus checks that you can get today if you live in certain states, as well as other stimulus measures that you could take advantage of today. And of course, the prospects of future stimulus, including the vote in early 2022 for a reissuing of Build Back Better. We're talking about all of that here in this video, so be sure to like it and share it with your friends and family if you think it would help them out in any way. My name is Kevin Conway, and I make personal finance videos and stimulus news update videos all the time, so be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and leave a comment below if you have any comments whatsoever. So let's get right into the very latest. Now, we know, of course, that Senator Joe Manchin voted no on Build Back Better, or he indicated that he would vote no if a vote was held. Now, that is kind of the key thing, because a vote will be held, according to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, in January. Chuck Schumer wants to put Joe Manchin on the spot for voting no on Build Back Better, when Joe Manchin said that he won't do it because he can't explain it to his constituents in West Virginia. Senator Schumer wants to put him on the spot for doing so. Now, why did Joe Manchin vote no, or why did he say that he was going to vote no in the first place? Well, it all boils down to cost. He did not want the cost to exceed $1.75 trillion, and according to the Congressional Budget Office, the total cost of the bill would be in excess of $4 trillion. Joe Manchin also didn't like the way revenue and expenses were calculated, where revenue was taken on a 10-year period, but expenses were only looked at on a 5-year period. He called that a gimmick, saying that it's obvious that Congress would vote to extend these programs and therefore extend the cost of the programs, but not capture them in this bill as we have it today. What's really interesting is that Senator Manchin never actually told anyone from the White House that he was going to vote no on Build Back Better. The White House said that Joe Manchin told Joe Biden that he would be in favor of Build Back Better if they modified it in a few specific ways, which they were prepared to do so. So this caught everybody by total surprise when Joe Manchin announced it on Fox News Sunday just a couple days ago. Now, what's very interesting is that the vote may proceed anyway in January, according to Senator Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader. Now, why would they do this? Well, like I mentioned, they want to put Joe Manchin on the spot, but it actually might put Joe Biden and his party on the spot in the midterm elections. Why? Because this bill, Build Back Better, was supposed to be passed via reconciliation, which only requires 51 votes in the Senate, but it also allows the opposing party, or anybody for that matter in the Senate, to propose unlimited amendments. Now, why does this matter? Well, these amendments can be on anything. They don't even have to be related to the bill itself. So you could put the other side, the opposing party, on record against certain issues. And that is what the Republicans likely will do against the Democrats if they bring this up for a vote. The Republicans will put forward various amendments that Joe Manchin will have to decide to vote for or against, many of which he is in favor of, even if it's against his party. It'll be a total backfiring on the Democrats. For example, they will put forward an amendment to not have any higher taxes, or an amendment having to do with illegal immigration, for example, a very contentious issue, and they will force people to vote on it, and they will run with their votes yes or no in various political ad campaigns in all these swing districts. That could backfire dramatically against the Democrats, and frankly, it's a very surprising move. Why would they would go forward and try to vote on Build Back Better anyway? Now, some of the provisions in Build Back Better that Joe Manchin wanted to cut in order to make the bill pass was the child tax credit. Now, if you have been receiving the child tax credit, let me know in the comments below if you think that's a good or a bad idea. I know it is a very popular idea among some circles, but they are talking about reducing or cutting this benefit entirely. And in fact, unless anything happens between now and the end of the year, the boosted child tax credit, the advanced monthly payments, will terminate at the end of this month. But Joe Manchin wanted to terminate that from the Build Back Better bill. But what's surprising is that his party said, no way, that is a key feature of this bill. We are leaving it in. And many on the Republican side of the aisle actually don't oppose the child tax credit. Social conservatives, for example, really like the child tax credit because it eliminates the need for two parents to go into the workforce, and one parent could stay at home with their child. And more moderate Republicans like Mitt Romney are in favor of the child tax credit because it eliminates the need for so many various other welfare programs. If they could scrap all of those and replace it with a simple cash payment, that would be preferable. And of course, Democrats are in favor of this because it reduces childhood poverty by 40%, according to some estimates. Now, that is broadly popular, but Joe Manchin didn't want to see it in the bill because it was by far the largest cost of Build Back Better. Now, whether or not it makes it into the next bill, who knows? I think there's a pretty good chance that a modified form of the child tax credit, something like $2,500 as opposed to $3,600, makes it into a standalone bill at the beginning of next year. Whatever the case may be, any new stimulus has to go through Joe Manchin. He is the swing vote. He is the moderate Democrat who needs his vote and stamp of approval to pass any stimulus. And Joe Manchin's entire thesis is let's do fewer things for longer as opposed to a lot of things for a short period of time, which was the Build Back Better model, where you had so many programs expiring after a year or 2 years, and really it didn't have very much impact at all over the long run. His philosophy is let's do fewer things for longer. So we know Joe Manchin is a senator to watch. We'll keep an eye on him, and I'll make follow-up videos whether he decides if he's going to vote on Build Back Better, if he switches his mind, unlikely, or if they modify Build Back Better to get him on board. You'll hear the latest from me. Let's talk about stimulus that you can get actually today. Now, this one applies nationally, and it is student loan interest payment deferral. That means you don't have to pay on your student loans if they're federally backed until May of next year. That was just approved by the Biden administration just a couple days ago. That means no interest will accrue and no payments need to be had on student loans until May 1st of this coming year. We'll see if it extends past then. They didn't seem to say that this would be the last and final extension. Who knows what'll happen, but I think it'll actually extend further past there. Separately, there's a lobbying effort going on right now to get senior citizens an extra $1,400 stimulus check to offset the costs of inflation. This comes from the Senior Citizens League, a lobbying group, and it is unlikely that it'll actually go and pass all the way, but you never know. We need to keep our tabs on that. All right, so let's talk about the stimulus checks that you can get actually today, depending on what state you live in. So if you live in one of the following states, you will be eligible for a stimulus check if you meet the other criteria. Those states include California, Florida, Georgia, Maine, Maryland, Michigan, New Mexico, and Tennessee. I'll briefly talk about the eligibility for qualifying for one of these stimulus checks so that you can know if you can get the money today. California, for example, allows you to get $1,100 if you make below $75,000. Florida, for example, allows you to get $1,000 if you're a first responder. That is a police officer, a paramedic, a firefighter, plus they give $1,000 if you're a teacher. Georgia gives $1,000 if you're a teacher or a principal. Maine allows you to get $285, kind of a strange amount, if you made less than the amounts that were in the original federal stimulus amount, which was $150,000 if you're married, $75,000 if you are an individual. Maryland allows you to get $300 if you're an individual, $500 if you are a family, if you make below what is essentially the poverty line, which is $15,000 or below for individuals with no children, and $21,000 or below with married individuals without children. And you get more if you have children. Michigan gives you $285 if you are a child care provider. New Mexico gives you $750 if you didn't get a federal stimulus payment, which I find very interesting. And Tennessee gives a $1,000 stimulus check for teachers specifically. What do you guys think of these state stimulus checks? Do you think the stimulus should come from the states or the federal government or not at all? And in what amount? Let me know in the comments below. Now let's turn to Omicron. Of course, Omicron is dominating the news. It is spreading wildly. So we know that New York and LA have doubled their case count virtually every single day over the last week due to Omicron and the fast spreading nature of that new variant of COVID-19. California has just instituted a new indoor mask mandate for every single county in the state except for San Francisco, which is kind of interesting. And we do know that 73% of all new cases of COVID-19 are from Omicron. And it is expected that because this is spreading so fast, that we will have more cases at the end of this year than at any point in the United States with COVID-19. We'll have more cases due to Omicron. Now, that's the bad news, but the good news is, according to a study out of the UK Health Agency, it appears that Omicron is less deadly than the other variants, such as Delta, for individuals who contract it. Now, this doesn't really depend on whether or not you've been vaccinated or unvaccinated. Overall, it appears that it's less deadly. It is, the case that this is not a peer-reviewed study, and it could change, and we don't know a whole lot right now. And this is just real-world data, but it appears that 50 to 70% less likely chance of ending in the hospital is the case if you have Omicron as opposed to another variant of COVID-19. So that's your update for today. Leave a comment below. Be sure to share and like this video, and let me know what you want to see in the following video. Subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.